Because first of all, we are many in our country and we live longer. Not only that, yes, so we have more time to contribute to the economy. You know, after 40, a woman changes. After 40, you become more confident. You have more time for other activities rather than taking care of the family. You can do many other things. So your life starts at 40. So if you are not 40, you've not started yet. Yes. So this is a very important group. Women is a very important group because they are we bring people to this world. We care for them, you know. We take care of the family. We can shape the families. We can shape the kids as well as husbands. Therefore, when you empower a woman, you see a bigger impact in the society because you will have better people, you will have good kids and so on and so forth, and good husbands as well. Yes, so in our country, I'll start with the business because most of the time I'm dealing with business people. And in our country, most of our economy is informal. So the percentage of formal economy is very small. You'll see most of our SMEs, matchingers, mamantilie, and so on and so forth. Most of them are informal. And therefore, we know our economy and we are trying to formalize it by doing different things. But we have some challenges in our country. We are working on a business environment to make sure that you can work on your business. But the good thing is the government policies, they actually they encourage entrepreneurship. And you'll see entrepreneurship in Tanzania. I think we are leading in eastern part of Africa. We are most of maybe there is another one country and Tanzania follows. We have many entrepreneurs. We estimate to have about 5 million entrepreneurs at any time. But we also have entrepreneurs who come in entrepreneurship and they go out after a very short period of time for many reasons. Most of us, we do entrepreneurship because we want to try the life, you know, to have something to do in life, to be able to put food on the table. So some of us, we just venture into entrepreneurship without any research, without doing any kind of background work to understand what kind of business I'm going to do. So I always say that it's not bad. It's not bad as long as you have decided to start doing a business. But as you are doing your business, you have to understand your business. I mean, first of all, you have to do it for a long time to understand it. Take some years to do it. Unless it's not doing, it's bogus. But if it's something average, try to work on it for several years, even 10 years, so that you understand, you become perfect in that business. Then you can start thinking about other things. As you are doing it, you have also to build your capacity to understand the subject matter very well, to understand the market, to understand your competitors, and so on and so forth. So that way you'll be able to be very good in that business. The thing that we've come to realize is that out of all those entrepreneurs in our country, 57% are women. And it's a good thing. But what we are insisting is to build our capacity. Whatever that we do, we need to understand it more, to be innovative in what we do, to build up things that we see we can make us more perfect, but more stronger. The thing is, I've said that our economy is informal, so you find that in most of the businesses, for example, if you have the opportunity to, maybe you have a market, I've seen the timetable, maybe you have a market outside the country to supply certain kinds of goods. You find that you don't have enough quantity to supply. That is the common problem we have in Tanzania. Most of the people we are producing very little, and if you want to believe that, you go to any shop, and you can ask the shopkeeper, can I see Tanzanian goods that are produced here in Tanzania? So even milk from Azam, you might not find it there. So it's a very common thing that our production capacity is very low. It's very low to satisfy the internal market. That's why we have importation of goods to substitute what we cannot suffice the market. But even when we have a market outside the country, sometimes it's also difficult. So what can we do? What we are insisting is networking. The group like this one, if you are doing one kind of business, like maybe your business relates, or you have the same type of business, you have to network. Sometimes you have to partner in order to grab bigger markets. So partnerships, joint ventures are very important for your businesses. And I'm saying this from the experience that I have. Currently in our country, we are implementing bigger projects. We are building roads, we are building SGR, standard gauge railway, we are building Mwalimu Nyerere hydropower project, and other projects like water, rural energy, and so on and so forth. And for this policy, economic empowerment policy, we are insisting that for any project that is being held here in Tanzania, Tanzanians have to be given opportunity. So we have our share of our contractors in those bigger projects. We don't have the share of the main contractor, but we have shares of many subcontractors. For example, in SGR, we have total of almost 980 Tanzanian companies working in SGR. So in many types of provision of goods and services. But the problem is, sometimes the share might be for, we may say that the share is for Tanzanians, but Tanzanians are not there. And this is because people don't come, they don't even think to come together for a certain opportunity. It's very important. We have to learn. We have to do it professional though. So we have to, if you want to go into joint venture with someone, for example, or in partnership, you have to do it illegally. You have to sign an agreement. You have to know your role and what are the roles of the partner, and so and where does the partnership ends. So where do we go from here and until when, and what are the kind of benefits and so on and so forth. So these are key for the growth of our businesses. But the other thing is technology for women. Technology is a problem in our country, especially for women. If you remember when our president was talking to women last month, she also mentioned about technology. The use of technology for women is very low. So, for example, at one time we had we were invited in Geneva to have a forum of women in business in Tanzania, but women with companies and also with websites. So we struggled. Actually, we had 50 places so that they can be trained virtually under UN. But we got only 10 women. So it's something that we have to work on. We have to use technology. Technology can improve even your market. Even the phone that you have, the WhatsApp and so on and so forth, can improve a lot. I think you know better than me. If you use technology properly and you can learn, you can take time to learn more. How can I improve my business using my phone, different application, and so on and so forth. So we have to try that. And having something like a website doesn't cost a lot, but it's important. If you have a company, it's important because that's how people will know about your business. So I would like to insist that we know that the word now we are working currently, we are going to more technology, digitalization of almost everything. So it's important we know more about technology and invest in technology so that we can have better businesses. The other thing that I know for sure is a problem is access to capital. Access to capital, mitaji na mikopo. Now speaking as a Muslim, I would like to say this. We have a challenge, but we have to work on this challenge. Because the financial sector, the system of financial sector in Tanzania is not Muslim friendly. So you find that very few banks can have Muslim banking products. So I think we need to have more products, and I always say this when I have opportunity, we have to have more products for Muslims, and we should, we don't have also to rush into getting loans whereby we know that those loans are not acceptable in our religion. If they have interests and so on and so forth, we don't have to take them. Because there are different things that we can, I know there are people like NBC, Amana Bank and so on, they have Muslim products. So we have to use that opportunity, but we have to have more financial products for Muslims. I understand that in Tanzania, most of the women are in Vikoba, village community banks. How many of us are in Vikoba? Mikono juu. Vikoba, yes. Vikoba is a village community bank. But what does it mean? It's a group. It's a communal groups which comes together to have savings and providing loans to each other. So normally Vikoba attracts people from about 20 to 30, and they meet once per week. And when they meet, they buy shares. They might decide, the group might decide that we are going to have, our share will cost maybe 5,000 shillings. So you buy share according to your own ability. So you can have many shares or you can have fewer shares. But the number of shares that you have determines how much you can borrow. You can borrow up to 3 times of what you have saved. And the interest rate normally is 10%. Yeah, so under that arrangement, you normally have savings for loans, and also you have savings for, they call savings for jamii. Jamii is like community issues. Like when you have problems, you can get assistance from the different type of savings. So this is Vikoba. And Vikoba in Tanzania actually attracts about 10 million people. 10 million people in Tanzania are doing Vikoba. And we are estimating that they have their own capital of about 3 trillion shillings. So it's a lot of money. And there are a few Vikoba, you find that one group of 30 people, they have capital of up to 800 million. Yes. And we are encouraging them that if you have that kind of capital, you can now start thinking about becoming microfinance institution. So this is Vikoba. And Vikoba, the way it is now, it's not adhering to Muslim practices because of the riba and the interest. So there is one guy, I know him, his name is somebody Basanga. He's doing Muslim Vikoba. So this guy, he has even written a book on how you can do Vikoba, but for Muslim practices. And if you like, I can link him to you so that he can come and one day he can come and describe how does it work. He has an organization called YEMCO. So he's dealing with youth. He has many things. He's also dealing with teachers, but he also has a wing for Muslims. So access to capital is a problem, and we know that it's a problem, and we need to work as a team to make sure that we address this area so that people can actually access capital, but not breaking the rules of Muslims. The other thing is the challenges that we have. In Tanzania, as I said, we don't have many products. So my organization, we are trying as much as possible to come up with affirmative actions for Tanzanians. For example, I said in all bigger projects, we have shares for Tanzania. So we are saying that these types of tender, they will go to Tanzanians. And this type of products, they have to be bought from Tanzania. So the main problem that we don't have many products. So the products that we have in Tanzania, for example, is only for construction. So we have cement, we have kokoto, we have sand, and so on. And so we have gypsum. Nowadays we have even industries for which produces tiles. So at least we are doing fine with construction. And the most important thing that is most of our projects, the government projects, they start with construction before they go to a second phase. So, but we still have to come up with products. Because if you talk about clothing, for example, shoes, etc., we don't have. So even if we wanted to provide market for that within our country, we don't have that opportunity. So this depends on the speed of our private sector to make sure that they actually come up with suggestions, with industries that can come up with products for Tanzania. There are other, I would like to talk about other opportunities for women that you can use as Muslim women as you are doing your businesses. There are different forums. First of all, we as a National Economic Empowerment Council, we are in charge of many funds. Many funds. The government itself has about 50 funds, which about 20 of them provides loans, but there are those funds which provide grants, and there are other which subsidize economic empowerment activities. So for Muslim women, for example, those women who are dealing with business of probably forest services like beekeeping and so on and so forth, or fish keeping, they can have grants from some of the funds that we are managing. So those funding are not under our organization, but they're under the government. Because we are in charge of the whole government, we can link. So when you are in need of those kind of, you need any advice, you can come to us and we can advise you properly where to go and things like that. So the other thing is Economic Empowerment Forum, Women Economic Empowerment Forum. These forums, they started in 2016 when our president was a vice president. She was elected by the United Nations to be among the fewer people globally to look at the women economic empowerment. So when she was doing that job, she decided that in Tanzania, what she's going to do in Tanzania is to establish women economic empowerment forums. And so our organization worked with her to make sure that we established those forums. These forums were established in 2016 up to 2017. Then they were like, I don't know whether any one of you knows about Women Economic Empowerment Forum. Anyone? Majukwaa ya wanawake, Mariam, and two. Who else? Yeah, yanaitwa majukwaa ya uwezeshaji wanawake kiuchumi. Those forum, we established them for this reason, and they are going to come back because she said that they have to come back. So she has already instructed the original commissioners to make sure that they come back, because currently the statistics we have 18 regions, they are active. About 140 districts, they're also active, and about 500 villages. So something is happening through those forums. The most important objective for establishing those forums was to make sure that women, they have opportunity to come together twice a year in a certain forum like this one, whereby they can meet government people and they can also meet different authorities. For example, they can meet people from TRA, they can meet people from banks, they can meet people from training institutions. So what is supposed to be done is to just set up an agenda. What is the issue for women in this area? So women come together and they have that meeting, one-day meeting. They can ask questions. They can be trained in a specific issue. Then they go back to their businesses. So it's a type of forum that we wanted to have, and we thought women, they didn't have anywhere they can meet unless somebody like Hadija, they've organized something like this. Otherwise, there was no something formal organized by the government. So that's the essence of having those forums. So to my understanding, these forums will come back, and it is an opportunity in our local area. In Dar es Salaam, I understand there is Madam Mariam Mungura. I don't know if you know her. Because our Mariam Mungura, I think she is the chair of the forum in Dar es Salaam. So what we said these forums, they have to happen under the leadership of the government, regional government, and they have to have their own mwenyekiti, chair, and a secretary, I think, and somebody else, so that they can be, they can do anything. So most of the forums, for example, in Tanga, they worked very well. That, I think the first 2 years, they used those forums to distribute loans to women, to distribute viwanja, you know, like when women, most of the women who are doing what, food processing, they need to have areas where they can have those certification from TBS, from GS1, etc., etc. So in Tanga region, they use those forums to make sure that they set aside land, and they gave them the permit that they can use the land to do their activities. So we've seen a lot of good practices, and I'm sure when they come back, this forum will help women a lot. Now, coming back to professional women. I'm a professional woman myself, but what I would like to say to professional women, you are professional, and you have to use your profession to help your colleagues, the other women. Not only that, you don't have to have one income. You don't have to rely on salary alone. Think about something, anything that you can do. So our belief is that even if you are working, but you can do other things. And we are capable. Women are capable of doing many things, right? We can do many things, and everything will go perfect. So think about something that you can do. Don't rely on job alone. Think of anything that you can do, and you can do, it will not affect your work. So that that's how you can be good economic-wise. And we are saying that if you want to prosper in life, you have to diversify source of income. You have to have as many as possible. So even if you have 2, 3, it's not bad. But think about something, anything that you can do to help yourself with your family, as well as use your profession to help other women, especially people in business. They need us as professional women to help them, to guide them. But I tell you, these women in business, they are very good. They have money. Me, I've worked with women in business many years, since I joined this organization 7 years ago. So when you look at the business, when somebody says, I'm a business person, you might think that they are just normal people. They have money. And they have money because it's normal. To make money to them, it's normal. So if you are working, you don't know really on their side, but they have money. Because for us who are working in underemployment, you just depend on salary, maybe per diem when you travel. But people from business, they have money, and they get money. So I would like to encourage you, professional women, to also study the other side, because I've seen it, and I know you can do better because you are also professional. So if you try, you'll do it very well. I think. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, Mama Bengisa. And I think you all see why I really respect and adore her. She really has given us a lot of points and a lot of food for thought. The importance of doing research to understand why we want to do the business, and then to research what business we want to do, to see what tunakurupuka tu. In terms of our own capacity, understanding where we sit, what capacity we have, and what capacity we need to grow for our business. Innovation has also come up, and we heard about the importance of this in the morning. Endurance, I think this is something that is new and very important. Ma Bengisa pointed that tunahitaji uvumilivu fulani. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to be successful or make our businesses thrive overnight. So we have to have the patience and endurance and commitment to go in it for the long haul. And this also speaks to the challenges we heard in the morning from Ms. Aisha, who said that even in the workplace, a lot of women start, but we drop out along the way. And I think it is the same in business. She also mentioned the importance of technology, which speaks to the heart of why we're here and today's theme. She pointed to all the issues that we're aware of, but really cemented them home. She spoke about access to finance. Once again, we heard from the speakers in the morning why this is important. But then she also showed that there are opportunities. Just even within our own government, there's some funds and grants that are available. Even though they may not sit at the NEC through directly in her office, but she can serve as the link. She can serve to facilitate those relationships and the networks to be built. So asante sana mama for that. And then she also introduced us, as many of us did not know, about the WEF, the Women in Economic Empowerment Forums, and why these are important. And so asante sana mama, and she also reminded us that networking is key. So once again, asante sana Dada Hadija for having this platform. It really highlights again why such platforms are important. So thank you once again, Pink Hijab. Partnerships. This is something that I think we also need to take home, the importance of partnerships. We may not be able to do it as an individual, but if you partner or join into joint ventures, it is possible. Another thing is the challenge in local content that she faces in her office, that even though there is local content and a law in place in terms of a status, affirmative action in terms of how many Tanzanians have to be part of projects, there are no Tanzanians enough usually to fit those quotas. So once again, encouraging to join partnerships, to go into joint ventures, so we can actually benefit from the local content provisions in our country. And then the last point, which I thought was really important for us, especially us still in the professional area, I'm looking at Aditya and looking at Sarah, to diversify income, not to sit and be comfortable with a salary that comes in. I see my sister from the back of Tanzania also nodding her head. So not to sit and be comfortable with the salary at the end of the month, but to also look to see how you can diversify your income. But also another important thing here is learning from each other. I think the business side, women in the business community have a lot to teach us in the professional community, but us in the professional community, I believe there are also things that we can impart on you. So it is mutual learning. Asante sana. Mama Bengisa pointed to one important challenge in terms of the formalization of SMEs. A lot of the women doing business in Tanzania are operating in informal ways, and the challenges facing SMEs. And I think this really is an important and a good segue to introduce Ms. Sarah Mhamilawa, who is a lawyer and a legal consultant, to give us some insight and legal advice as to the formalization process and some issues surrounding compliance and also some issues surrounding branding. Karibu sana, Dada Sarah.
Good afternoon. I would like to, first of all, appreciate the previous speaker on what she has said regarding being a professional woman and a businesswoman, and how you can transcend from being a professional woman to a businesswoman, or having a side hustle that will eventually turn into a business. I'm a professional woman, I'm a lawyer, but I'm self-employed. I started my legal consultancy when I was fully employed. In 2015, I was legal counsel to a certain corporation, and I was mainly working for the board. But I thought, you know why? I could consult on legal issues. So I registered my legal consultancy back in the day, 2015. I went out in forums like this. I met someone who trusted with my skills, And they gave me work, and I remember being really overwhelmed with some of the assignments. Still, I thought, should I maybe quit my job and give this other work full attention? That is just to complement what she had said regarding how you can really try to do 2 or more things to diversify your income. I would like to pick up from where she left. I will speak mostly on business formalization, just giving you highlights on requirements. I will also talk slightly about brand protection, also highlighting what you might need and why you need to protect your brands legally. But before I go there, I would like to just start from the points that Mama was speaking about that I jotted down that I thought have legal impact to us as professional and business women. Starting with technology. Mama had said there are very few women who had websites and domain name. This is also a legal domain. Registering, when you have a website, you basically have something called a domain name. A domain name is what people remember instead of the long string of technological numbers that refer to your website. It's called IP address. So it's just like your phone, in your phone, instead of writing my full number, if I give it to you right now, it will be like 7 numbers, 6 numbers, 10 numbers plus the 0. Instead of having to memorize all of those, it will be very easy for you to memorize, or for your phone to remember Advocate Sarah, right? So this is the same way with a website. Behind it, instead of having the IP address, you have the website name. For example, if you are making fresh juices and you say Dar es Salaam Fresh Juice. So this is a domain name, and actually registering it is a legal process, although you'd go to a technician. But it is a perfect way of legally, am I boring already? Or is it a difficult subject? No, it's not. So I was trying to encourage you to actually register or even save domain names for your businesses by having a website. Usually you would go to, now you know me, I can also refer you to other people who will create for you what is called a domain name. What you need to register a domain name is basically your name and the name of your business. And then you will be registered, and your contact numbers, and you have to be some addresses like the one which has .co.tz, you'll need to be a Tanzanian to register that. But the cost of registering a domain name is just 25,000 shillings. So I'm sure many businesses can afford that. Of course, hosting the website, people will tell you it's maybe up to 400,000. But the truth of the matter is, if you're starting your business and you don't have a lot of content, hosting can be from 100,000. So if you don't have a lot of content, you just need to appear professional. That Fresh Juice Dar es Salaam website is coming up. You know, maybe with your business address there, it can be very, very cheap as 70,000 or 100,000. But it is a legal process. Once you register your domain name for your website, nobody should be able to take it up. That means you've legally protected your service online, and there's a legal proper process in case someone tries to make a similar domain name, for example, to trick your customers from, to having them, get lost. If they wanted to go this door and then they go a different door just because it's confusingly similar. She pointed out about Vikoba, and I know she said there's a different organization that will do Vikoba the Muslim way. My urge here is BOT issued some guidelines on registration of all these initiatives that collect amana, they take savings. And for those that are taking interest, there are several categories. I'm sure you've had these discussions in several groups, maybe if you attend Vikoba. But the important aspect here when it comes to compliance as a business person. You also don't want to get in trouble with the laws of the country. So make sure you are aware of how you can register your entity, even if it is Vikoba or even if it's a microfinance entity. There's a procedure for registration, and usually they would want you to have 3 leaders. They'll want you to have a constitution. They'll want you to have an address where you are reachable. Basically, those are the 3 basic things that they would want. There are a few compliances issues, like, you know, filing your reports on how you are managing your money. A lot of people got really scared with this compliance. They say the government now wants to tax these institutions. But from my lawyer point of view, people used to steal this money. You know how Vikoba started? Some people would take off with a lot of money. So this is a way of actually making sure these people you are entrusting with your money, even if it's not being taken to the bank, they don't get off with your money and you have now to go to court. Mama spoke about the issue of local content. I'll be very brief about this, but I want to assure you there are many opportunities for business women when it comes to local content. In mining industry, sometimes, like in mining area, the law requires that some of the service providers for miners, you know, if someone has come to Tanzania and they're investing in a mine, the service providers have to be local. So imagine you could win a tender of supplying food to the miners where there's a mining activity. And that's the policy of that's the law, the local content. And what do you have to do for you to win this tender? You have to be formalized. And at this point, I would like to go back to the formalization segment. But I'm curious, how many of you have already registered your businesses officially? And by registration, I mean you have at least a BRELA certificate. BRELA is Business Registration Licensing Authority. Okay. How many of you have not? I know a lot of women also do business online. We call it online business. These days, people just go to Instagram or they're just selling stuff on WhatsApp. I want to assure you one day the law will catch up with you. I'm not trying to scare you. But if you want to grow, you want to legalize things, you want to be formal. And the first step of formalizing your business is the registration process. How can you register it with the Business Licensing Authority? You can be a proprietor. This means you are your business. You just get a business name. It is very easy to get a business name. You can get it in a day. If you go online, you can get your business name in a day. It will cost you 20,000 shillings. You will need your national identity number. And yeah, basically that. For a business name, they won't even, no, they will ask you for your premise, the premise of business. So you have to have an address. And initially, legally, you can have your home as an address for the business. The other way of formalizing your business, apart from the proprietorship, which is a business name, you can have a partnership. Mama had spoken about partnerships. This means 2 or 3 people come together, you go to a lawyer, you state your terms. How do you agree to do this business? And then you register a common business name, just like the process that I've told you. You can also do a company, and where company is a little bit advanced, but it's actually one of the best way to do business legally, because your business is separated from you. That means if you buy assets, if you buy a car, it can be registered. If you buy a plot of land, all the products that you have under your business, they belong to the company. They have a different personality than you. That means if you go broke, nobody will come and take maybe anything that is in your name to recover for, you know, for matters that went wrong in your business. I don't know if I'm making sense when I say that. That means if I have a company named Sarah, You cannot come to my place and take my car in my personal registration, because my car has nothing to do with the company that I own that is called Sarah. That makes sense? So requirements for registering a company, usually you would need 2 shareholders. That means the people will have the stakes. You'll need 2 directors. Sounds very big, but basically it can be the 2 shareholders can also become the directors. You need someone to be a company secretary. You basically need a name. Most people who are starting appoint us lawyers to be their company secretary because they are compliances. You have to file returns. It sounds scary, but trust me, it's easy. Filing returns basically means any developments that you've made in the business in the year, like you changed your business address, you added a new shareholder. There are simple forms online that you fill in, and your company secretary will stamp them and file them to BRELA. So you will also need a business address for registration. You will need capital. Minimum capital for company registration in Tanzania is 20,000 shillings. And for the capital of 20,000 shillings up to 1 million, your registration fee will be 95,000 shillings. I'm sure you can do that, right? To grasp the stakes. But the registration fee can go up to the one that you pay to the government, not to the government, to the business licensing authority. It can go up to maybe 400,000, depending on the capital of your company. But you can start with 20,000 shillings. I'm trying to get the points from my own experience in my head, so sorry if it's not following a particular order. So yes, you will need something called a constitution of the company. Basically, these are terms of, what are the objectives of your business, what business you will be doing, and what will be the relationship between you and your business partners, the shareholders, how you will call your meetings, how you will give other people shares if you want them to come on board, what will happen to, getting other people from the company and, giving it to someone else, and such matters. And a lawyer can do that for you. It is not very hard. That is called, in the legal terms, the memorandum and articles of association. That is what you also need. You'll need an advocate stamp on those documents, and then when you file all of these things, you are ready to have your company. Of course, you need an email address and a business address and a phone number and a national identification number. For company registration, you don't have to be all Tanzanians. You can actually have foreign partners, but the company can change its legal nature. If more people are foreigners, then this is a foreign company. But if more people, I mean more than 50%. Another type of registration, there's something called joint venture. Mama mentioned it, that's why I'd like to just give a hint about it. When you go for joint ventures, this means perhaps you see an opportunity, for example, with the local content. You want to take a tender in the mining. And you, as Sarah, you cannot do it on your own. So you need perhaps Namwaka to come on board. She has maybe the skills. Namwaka has the skills, I have the money. We can come together and create and sign a joint venture agreement to execute this work for a certain particular period of time. So you'll go before a lawyer, you'll talk out how you will do this. You say, my contribution is this, her contribution is this, this is how we will work. You create something like a constitution on how we will work. You sign it off with a lawyer, and if you need to formalize it, like maybe you need to form a company, you form a company whose agreement, whose constitution will be informed by what you had agreed with the joint venture. Otherwise, you can just register this joint venture with the Registration of Documents Act. It's at the Ministry of Lands, I believe, and you are ready to operate. Anything that happens between you, you can actually sort it out as per the agreement that you had. I think that's it about formalization. Quickly on brand protection. So Mama said we don't have a lot of products coming from Tanzania. But the truth is a lot of Tanzanians do a lot of business but they don't brand it. Like, there are a lot of people, for example, who sell a lot of produce to Kenya. So the Kenyans import the products and then they brand it. They import milk, they import soybeans, they import chilies, you name it, and they say proudly produce of Kenya. And you have earned your money from selling the soybeans. But you know what she earns when she says proudly from Kenya? She has branded it. That means there's an added value to a brand that can give you more money because you've added value. And this is not just money, it's a legal issue, right? Because then someone can just come up. If I've branded my beans to Sarah beans from, say, Arusha or Zanzibar, if someone comes up and says, these are also Sarah beans from Zanzibar when they are not, that's a legal issue, right? So brand protection is not something that will only add value. It will also, it's something that you can do it legally and protect your effort, sweat, blood, and tears and creativity into building that business. So how can you do it? People register service marks and trademarks. If you sat down and thought about how should my brand look like, ionekaneje umetengeneza, like there's pink hijab, where is it? I'm sure the creator of the logo put some thought into this thing, And then if someone comes up tomorrow and they claim they're pink hijab and they call an event, I'm sure you'll be offended. It's actually legal. So you can actually protect the brand that you create for your businesses. And people think it's very expensive to register a service mark or a trademark. It is not. The application fee is just 50,000. Registration fee is 60,000. This mark will be advertised in the National Industrial Journal, which costs 20,000. Of course, the lawyer will give you their fee for taking you through the process, and it's a free market, so every lawyer will give you their fee. But at least I've given you a clue that it's doable. What you need is soft copies of the labels, the creativity that you've put up with the words. You deliver those to a lawyer. You need a name, of course, and you need a business address. And then all matters can be taken care of. Am I making sense? So register trademarks for your products, because then if you get a good lawyer, they can help you register a trademark regionally. SADC has an arrangement that you can file a trademark that protects you across the region at ARIPO. And I've come across people who want to protect their products. They register their trademarks even in Hong Kong. Because you know what, they produce things here, and someone goes to China, they in Kiswahili we say ifyatua. They ifyatua something that looks exactly like yours, but it's not. And you've put your effort into this, and this is illegal. So what do you do when you have protected this mark? That means you legally, first of all, you get exclusivity of use of this brand for 7 years, and it's renewable exclusively. But also the impact of this is not that you can exclusively use it, it's that other people cannot steal your invention. So you can actually seize those goods. If you have a trademark, you can get an order, and the lawyer will help you. We'll go to the market and collect everything that is fake. And then these people, we can might do whatever that we want to do with it. They can get to offer an apology, and we can get all the proceeds from that criminal activity. It becomes criminal. So please protect your products, your creativity that you come up with, and you can do it legally, as I've said. The other protection is through domain name online. I know people depend on social media platforms, but you are not in control of WhatsApp or Instagram. Someday it might go pop. Of course they won't do that because they need you. But if you have a website, it's a different investment. It's a personal investment. It's not a free platform. And you can get to control what you put there. You can tell your story. And so that is why domain name is also a legal way of protecting your brand through your website. And if someone not only steals it, but also creates something that is confusingly similar, you can come up legally and go against them. I wanted to talk a little bit about contract management. when you might need a lawyer. You know, I know people supply things. People say these things don't work in Tanzania. I talk to people, I tell them, so are you putting up a contract to these people that you are giving them? They don't work. And have you tried? And maybe they don't work because maybe you don't care about how much you are going to lose. But I'm sure when you have a bigger consignment, you want to protect it before you. Goodwill works in business, but you're better protected. That's why you have the lawyers. You're better protected for when that goodwill is not observed. So why do you need to have contracts all the time with most of the people, even if it seems like it is harmless? Because it will protect your rights. You get to have terms on delivery, quality of the goods that you expect or you are delivering, payment modes, when can payments be effected, what happens if these payments are not effected. These are very important terms. Warranties, the quality of the goods. It's also important to discuss in these contracts. I know someone who, to give a simple example, I know someone who ordered earrings. They ordered earrings and the seller said, I always use this border to deliver all my products. So don't tell me that you did these earrings, something had happened to them. So when the client got them, fortunately we were sitting together. The client was like, oh, but these earrings, what happened to them? Seems like maybe a border guy had dropped the luggage, so something had happened. But between these three people, it was a confusion because, you know, this woman said, I always use this border guy, so why is this a unique case to you? You know, a big issue came up, but I am just bringing up this example to help you understand what can happen when you're just doing things kwa mazoea, when you could have actually protected yourself. It also shows seriousness not only on your part, but on the person who is doing your taking orders from you and giving you service, that they are serious, they are committed to you, and they are willing to give their commitment in the quality of service that they are giving you. I'll just give a final hint on access to international markets, since I was supposed to be on that panel in the morning, and I apologize for that, Namwaka and Adija, but I know we would like to open our to get markets internationally. And much as I'm a professional, I'm also a business person. I also go to these business platforms like Tanzania Private Sector and CTI sometimes. And what's this? I'll come back to it when it comes. But just a small tip. All of these requirements that you must comply with on your products, they are legal requirements. When TBS comes up and says, oh, you need to have this and to have this, those are legal requirements. You as a businesswoman might hustle to try and, you know, make sure you're compliant. But I think one step towards becoming a big businesswoman is to understand who are your partners and working close with them. I actually started something maybe Hadija may not know, because I usually met people and I told them, you need to do this. And they say, but a lawyer is too expensive. So my firm is called MS Legal Consultants, but I started something called MS Legal Mentorship Hub, because I wanted to work with SMEs and help them achieve what they can't achieve otherwise because of the exhaustive fees that they would have to pay. Because it's a win-win for them and for me. When they grow big, then perhaps they can pay me better. But for now, we want them also to grow. So I want to assure you, these regulations that the government puts up, you might use a lot of time to, you know, go online, create an account, and, you know, you are filing this, you're going back. But if you go to someone who has been doing it, then they save your time. Even if you're losing a little, you are gaining by paying a little fee for them to help you. So if you want to, there's a very important tool that we can try and get accustomed to. It's called International Trade Center. International Trade Center has an online tool that you can check out to see it's essentially a market access tool that you can see what goods are being exported in the world and what are their prices. Some other countries have to pay a fee for it, but if you're from a developing country, you can access it freely. You can navigate in there. If you have a connection at TRA, or if we have someone from TRA, they can give you the codes, because all products internationally have codes. So you can see, like coffee, usually they would have a code. You can search coffee, but you know, eventually you come to know that coffee has codes, because there's raw coffee, there's roasted coffee, there is, you know, ground coffee, so they are coded. So when you go to this tool, you can know what goods are trending in the international market and what are the prices, so that you know how to prepare yourself. But why am I saying this as a lawyer? Before you want to export honey, I know there's another lady who looked me up the other day, they want to export insects. They've not told me exactly what type of insects they are. But whatever you want to export, you will need an export permit. Before you get an export permit, there are all these places that you will have to go to get approvals. Usually these are national authorities. If you're exporting magogo, you would go to forestry authority. If you are exporting honey or honey, beeswax, people are exporting beeswax. People are exporting seaweeds. Did you know that? Recently, people are exporting seaweeds. So there are all those requirements that you will need to adhere to. The government has started a common portal. It's called ATMIS, ATMIS. You create an account there, and you would start following up on those permits. For example, I know people who are doing, for example, before I go to the export, food products. They're usually really scared of TBS. But it always seems impossible until it is done. It's not that hard. And the benefit of having TBS qualification, if you come to a lawyer, I'll tell you, they'll need to know the premises where you are working on, the specifications. They want to see the process in which you kanda your mandazi to make sure it is healthy. But once you get it, you get legitimacy once and for all. You can easily access the international market because you have guaranteed the quality of your produce, right? And then there's also the licenses that you need to get to access international markets. There's another kind of business license that you get at BRELA also. That is different from the business license that you get at the municipality. And the rest of these matters, the permits, well, if someone has a need, maybe probably in future we'll have a session. But the rest of these permits, what I wanted to say, the rest of these permits are regulatory requirements. When you say regulatory, it basically means there is a law and then there are regulations. So there are those regulations that you must follow, which are very doable, as I have advised you through ATMIS and through BRELA, and of course through TBS. ITC, I've already said. Oh, another thing why maybe you might need to talk to a lawyer is a lawyer who understands international contracts. Not the contract between you and the seller, but also Tanzania is not living in an island. We have sometimes tripartite agreements, sometimes country to bilateral agreements. For example, with Kenya through the EAC, SADC, there's Africa Free Continental Trade Area coming up. I'm sure you've heard about it, Africa Free Trade Area. We wanted to make it as easy as possible to trade within our country, just like you're taking goods from Kariako to maybe, I don't know, where else. So there are those agreements that make it easier for you to do business as a businesswoman, that give you relief in terms of taxes that you might have to pay and standards that you might have to comply with, that you will be advised of. With all of that long, boring lecture, I hope I've done justice to my part. Thank you for listening.
Asante sana, Dada Sarah. You made up for not being in the early morning panel. I think this actually worked out better because you got to speak about all the issues that were touched upon from the morning to finally to Mama Bengisa's presentation. and really summed it up for us now, putting it in context of what we need to do to really grow and really be formal and really tackle the challenges that we have heard from morning until now. So with that, we've really come to the end of our day. It's been a long day. Tunawashukuru wote, most of you were here way before 9 o'clock. You came for breakfast, so asanteni sana. You've been patient with us throughout the day, attentive, listened to all the presentations. There's been a lot of information that has come out from today. And I believe myself and Hadija and the Pink Hijab team will put together a very short, comprehensive report highlighting the main key issues that have come up, but also the potential recommendations and solutions that have come up just from today's session. So Pink Hijab, I believe, will share a very short, friendly, readable report that can help us also shape the way forward and how we're going to proceed from here. So asanteni sana. Before we officially finish, I would like to call up again His Excellency for a short appreciation from Pink Hijab, your support and your being with us here the entire day. Thank you, and if we could just come up to the front again. Karibu sana, Your Excellency.
Maybe again, can I take it?
Yes.
Again, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In fact, thank you very much for being here. When the idea came first about Pink Hijab, it is something about gathering. That we know that also from the hadith, if two persons with the nice aim, with the Rizanillah are together, then their third is Allah. And for Pink Hijab, for being professionals with the company owners and possible company owners with together, your aim is good. Your aim is good for Tanzania, your aim is good for yourself, for your family, but it needs efforts. Also in HAYA it says that for human being, there's only for what he works, for his amal, for her amal. That's why inshallah, these steps, it can be some small, it can be only for thinking, starts for thinking, and have a result at the end. For us, yes, I'm from Turkey, but on some point, I'm a Muslim also. On some point, I also share the vision, mission, and the values of Pink Hijab. That's why I'm on the same page. Although, as I said, I may have a diplomatic role coming from another country, although lots of common things, different culture, but at the end, I share all of these values, these mission, and these idea about the Pink Hijab. I have one criticism that about the logo of the Pink Hijab, that woman doesn't have hijab. I don't know, did you check or not? Where is Fatma? Fatma, please make a hijab to that Pink Hijab. But for the idea, I am, as much as I am here, as much as I am possible, maybe sometimes financially, maybe sometimes with different sponsorships. But myself will be always supporting Pink Hijab idea. Thank you very much for all of you for coming and joining here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you can just wait 1 minute, please, Your Excellency. Karibu. This is one of the many members of Pink Hijab Initiative, and this is her own business. So she makes these cakes.
Organizers, it should go.
Asante sana, thank you. And would also like to acknowledge somebody who's been with us the whole day, sitting very quietly and supportive and respectful of our time and the audience, but it shows the dignity and the pride and the humility of everything I think that we've discussed in terms of what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a proud wife, and what it means to be supportive of women initiatives. So I'd also like to call up Mrs. to our representative from the Iranian embassy. If you can please come up. She's been with us the whole day. You may not have seen, but we sat with her the whole day. We would just like to really, really appreciate your time and support and sitting with us and hearing us out and supporting your husband with respect and all the sifa zote za mwanamke. So and so we would like to just a very small gift from Pink Hijab, and once again this is one of the members of Pink Hijab. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Aha. You see? Wonderful. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, asanteni sana once again on behalf of Pink Hijab Initiative. This has been beyond successful in our eyes, and we're grateful for your time and for your efforts and your participation, and inshallah, we'll meet again. Asanteni sana.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Fatma Yunus, a representative from Pink Hijab. Ningependa kuwashukuru wote kwa kuhudhuria leo. Nimefurahi sana binafsi na pia kama Pink Hijab kwa ujumla tumefurahi, na asanteni sana kwa kuhudhuria leo. Langu ni fupi, ningependa sana kuwakumbushia kuhusu wageni wetu walivyotuambia kuwa tushikamane na tuungane ili kuunganisha nguvu kutimiza malengo ambayo tunayaendelea huko mbele inshallah, na bila kuwa member wa Pink Hijab hatuwezi kufanikisha hili. Kwa hiyo na muwe na
Here's a song that comes from Tanzania.
And just as a note for all participants, CRDB Bank is there. They're taking on and registering new members. They have the whole team with them. So karibuni sana CRDB Bank. As we heard today, they're very supportive of all women in business, and particularly so Muslim women. Karibuni sana CRDB Bank.
Kwa kuongezea kuna exhibitions zinaendelea hapo nje za members wenzetu wa Pink Hijab. Ingekuwa vizuri tukitembelea meza zao na tukifahamu nini huduma zao wanazotoa. Pia there is some tea we can have as we leave kuelekea nyumbani. Nawapenda.
Here's a song that comes from Tanzania. Malaika nakupenda malaika, malaika nakupenda malaika, ingekuwa wa maliwe Ndwana mali